So today I'd like to talk about the annotated diverse text set, and if you go to the assignments folder here on Blackboard, it is described in this folder. So before we get there, I just want to give you an overview. The first thing is think about a theme relevant to your content and targeted for a particular class or grade level. Identify a total of 8 texts that fit that theme, which would include 4 traditional print texts and 4 multimedia texts. Create an annotated bibliography for these texts, which include APA 7th edition formatted citations, a summary of the text and relevance in the unit and rationale for its overall inclusion, level of text complexity, and 4 strategies you would use to teach them. So if you open up the folder, the first thing is this assignment document, which explains the overall assignment for the text. So let's just take a look at that first. And I just revised this a little bit, so if you downloaded this before, look at this newer revised version. So there's 3 steps. The first one obviously is pick the unit or the theme and keep it contained. We don't want something that spans time. It should be, all of these should be connected to the same theme, like Hamlet or Pearl Harbor or something on that line. So you're going to pick your theme, you're going to pick your text, total of 8. 4 need to be traditional text, which would be like articles, stories, written print text. And 4 can be something else, different images, media, videos, whatever. And then 4 strategies that you use to teach any 4 of these texts. So the strategies can be for viewing the video or making sense of an image or a poster or a picture or a piece of music. Or strategies could be for reading the traditional text, or they could be for vocabulary related to anything. So the strategies can be related to what you want. So the outcomes here are that you are selecting texts that are all related to one theme, because oftentimes when we introduce content to students, we want it to have multiple texts and multiple perspectives. We want you to practice evaluating text complexity and match teaching strategies to your selected text. So the first thing, there's an introductory narrative where you describe the topic, the grade level, the rationale for this theme, and make sure you connect it to your content standards or Common Core standards, whatever your content follows. Then you're obviously going to pick your text, and as I say here, it can be maps, artwork, song lyrics, formulas, lab reports. There's all kinds of variety of how we define text. So pick something relevant for your content and make sure that there's a total of 8. Then you need to assess text complexity. So in the Zagoras and Co book, there's a chapter where they talk about text complexity, qualitative analysis, quantitative analysis, and reader and task considerations. Also on Blackboard, I have some tools for you to use here in text assessment. So there's qualitative measures, and let's just take a look at that. I picked out this rubric for informational text. There's also one of these for literary text if you're using a piece of literature, where you're looking at the level of purpose, structure, language, and knowledge demands, and you decide based on these texts. And this could be for any text. This could work for multimedia text as well. High, middle, low, or low. And looking at that overall for that text. Is it overall fall in the middle high range, the middle low range? And really what we're looking for is a range of text. We don't want all the text to be easy. We want students to have to learn to deal with or grapple with text, which they talk about in the book. So that's one thing you want to think about. There's also reader and task considerations. That's also posted here. So there's 3 pieces. There's a qualitative, a quantitative measure, and then this reader and task. So looking at the target students, and this is obviously going to be a virtual group unless you're targeting this for students that you already work with. But since some of you aren't doing field work and aren't in classes, this could be for imaginary virtual group. So thinking about 8th grade math. What are their cognitive capabilities? What are their reading skills? What's their motivation? How do these things play in? So thinking about reader and task considerations, what is the level of text based on that? And then the final piece is the quantitative piece. And the quantitative piece is either a Lexile level, and if it's a traditional type text, you can go to lexile.com and find the Lexile level. If there isn't one, you could find one. There are different readability formulas. And let me see, I don't have a link here. I can put one if you want. But Fry is a good one. Basically, you would count 100-word segments of the test, and they ask you to do 3 different ones and then find an average. You don't have to do that. You can just find one chunk of text that's 100 words. Count the number of syllables and calculate the average. Count the number of sentences and then plot average of sentences against syllables, and that will give you a grade level here. Now you can also look at the Lexile levels, and if you look at Lexile levels, what we're looking at here is this Lexile band here is pretty much where we are now. So if you're looking at a Lexile level of 1080 to 1305, that would be within the 9th or 10th grade reading level. So that's another way of figuring out readability. So you're looking at 3 kind of measures for each one of your traditional text, quantitative, qualitative, and reader and task considerations. If it's a multimodal text, let's say it's an image or a poster, quantitative may not fall into play. So in that case, you would just look at 2 levels, the qualitative and the reader and task considerations. So for each annotation, you're going to include a little summary. First, you'll include the APA formatted citation. Then you will do a summary of the text and what it's about. And then you'll talk about the complexity level. In this case, it does have a Lexile level. And then looking at the qualitative measures and knowledge demands. I've decided that overall this is a middle level text with a Lexile of 1030. So this is what one of the annotations would look like. And you're going to be doing a total of 8 of these. So the next part of this is picking 4 strategies, and you're going to pick strategies to teach any 4 of the texts you decide. There should be a purpose, a procedure, and modifications for language learners or diverse learners. And you may need a handout for students depending, and a brief explanation. So a sample of that is posted on Blackboard. And there it is. A write, pair, share, which explains how it works, what the purpose is, instructions for students, and how it might work for the book East of Eden. And then the report part of this, what you will submit is then this introduction rationale, which is going to be worth 10 points total. Your bibliography with the annotations, which is worth 60 points total. Your 4 strategies, which is worth 20 points, and then 10 points for grammar and mechanics. So there's a sample report. I changed this year a little bit, so the sample report is close to what you're looking at, but this will give you an idea of what you're looking for. So this is all posted on Blackboard in the annotated text set. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me.